Welcome to section 2, adding posts and styling to our message board. So in this section, what we're going to learn is how to do inline styling to style components using pure JavaScript, how to use CSS styling to style those same components using CSS, how to make components with props, so that will allow us to our components to render different things based on the inputs of the components, so they're dynamic. We're going to load all the Reddit posts from our Reddit site example from a static JS file. So we'll be loading, it'll be very data driven. We'll store the data separately. And last of all, we'll create a component to add a new post. And we're going to use the class syntax to do that, which will be new. So rather than having a function, we'll have a class. Inline styling. In this video, we're going to look at how you can inline style your components using JavaScript. So inline styling, what do I mean by that? So what I mean is, in React, there is a way that you can style using JavaScript only. I'm going to show you how that works. At the moment, our site looks like this. And what I want to do, I'm not going to style it a ton, but I'm going to maybe make the font a little smaller, and I'm going to put the comments bit to the left here, and then submitted by over to the right or something. So let's have a look at that. What I'm going to do first of all actually is remove all the CSS from this project. I'll keep that because that's actually useful, but I'm going to remove the rest. I don't think that's very useful. Is that all the CSS? Yeah, cool. So now you can see they're over here. So I'm going to make the font a little smaller. So let's get into it. How do we do that for our Reddit post? So what you can say is, you can set an attribute, or what's actually called a prop in React speak or JSX speak. So you can set a style to be an object. So I'll start off with a simple one. Let's set the background color to be red for this div. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, it looks pretty bad, but you can see it's working. So let's break down what this means. So we're saying style equals, and then, so this is a bit confusing. You've got double curly brackets. So if you remember from the video on JSX, what's going on here is that these brackets mean I'm about to do JavaScript, and these brackets are for an object. So I'm going to break this into two lines so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to create a const called style, and then we're going to use style in here. So maybe this is a little bit clearer. So this is an object which has a key background color and a value of a string red. And then we use that style in here. So the way this works is in CSS, background color, I believe, is like this. So the way it works is wherever you have a dash, you convert that to camel case. So background color becomes background color. That's basically it. Let's get into styling this. So we're going to say, I'll run you through what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do display flex. I'm going to use the flexbox model here. Flex direction, column. And then I'm going to create another div around these. Here I'm going to say style equals display flex again. And then the flex direction is going to be row. Got column wrong here. So I'm just trying to get things in sort of the right, vaguely in the right kind of orientation or layout. Okay, that's actually not gone so bad. We kind of want, there's no gap in between comments and the submitted bit. So let's add a style here and say margin right of 30. It's a bit weird. So this is an integer, and this works in the way, I think you can check the style docs of React. You might have thought that I was going to say 30 pixels. This might work as well. You might be able to do either. Shall we see? Let's have a look. Yeah, I think they both work. But you can also use a number, which is pretty useful because you can say stuff like that. Margin right is 15 plus 15, so that would be 30. So, but let's just leave it as 30 for now. And I think actually we're doing pretty well now. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. We want the whole thing to be in the middle, really. You know what? No, we won't worry about that too much. Let's add a little space underneath each one. So that would be in this style. So we're going to say, because this is the most outer style, margin bottom is 30 again. So yeah, that's looking pretty good now. So we've got some Reddit posts, and they're kind of laid out correctly. And so that's how you style inline. So the advantages of styling inline, the disadvantage is that you end up with this style stuff everywhere. You can put it at the top like I've done here though, so that could work. It kind of loosely supports most of the things you can do in CSS. I don't think it supports everything you can do in CSS. So if you're a real CSS whiz and use stuff like @media for responsive web pages. It can't do that. It can't do, I don't think it can do some of the animation and the keyframes stuff. What we should look at as well is how on earth this works. So let's have a look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect the page and launch the debugger. So you can launch the debugger by right-clicking on the page and clicking inspect, or by pressing F12 on most systems. So yeah, what you see is basically, you can see, so let's look at the top post. So make this bigger for you. Actually, let me see if I can make, yeah, there you go. Make everything bigger. So you can see the top post, you can see the style on the top post is set to have display flex, flex direction column, margin bottom 30. So what it's doing is directly setting this style stuff. And React is converting. So you can see I put 30 as an integer, but it's converted that into 30 pixels. That's something React's doing for me. It's pretty powerful for, like, if you want React components which change their style. Say, for example, Reddit posts which are new should be red. That's something you'll probably want to do in a style. So most of the styling that you don't want to change, I would probably do in CSS, which I'm going to show you in the next video. If your style changes based on data, so for example, new posts are red or something, that's something you probably want to implement in the style. So it's more useful once we start using props more, which you'll see in a later video as well. But just bear in mind it's something you can do. Styles don't have to be static like they are in the example I've done. You can sort of, you can have different styles and use ifs and booleans in them and stuff. Yeah, and then it just puts us, it literally just sets the style for these individual things. Kind of handy, quite straightforward. If you ever do React Native only really supports this methodology. It doesn't support CSS because that's not really a thing on mobile app. I think that kind of covers that off. In this video, we covered how inline styling works inside React. So you can configure React components without writing any CSS.